You are listening to the Enormocast.
Hi, this is Dr. Alan Honlove with the Honlove Good Catch Institute. And in 2026, we're partnering with La Sportiva to send a message of love and empowerment for the new year. It is not uncommon after the holidays to be feeling worn down, out of step, and misunderstood. Frankly, it's enough to make you want to go free solo a skyscraper. But don't be silly. Why in the world would you do that? But we here at HGCI want you to climb out of the doldrums by returning to that childlike state when a new pair of shoes would legit make you run faster, jump higher, and dream bigger on the playground and beyond. And what are rocks but just a playground? And what are you but just an overgrown child? So we've partnered with Sportiva to bring salvation in the form of the best climbing shoes that not only slap and slay, but are legit fire. With help from Sportiva, your inner middle schooler will leave no crumbs in a pair of mandalas, absorb the aura of the special edition Squama, low-key vibe on Tommy Caldwell's Riz in a pair of TC Pros. And let's face it, the venerable Miras, well, still may be the GOAT, no cap. So here's to new shoes and a less Coogee you in 2026. Go to lasportivausa.com or your favorite local shop to level up and unlock infinite drip.
Listen, where are you playing in town? You playing here?
We're doing the Enormo Dome, whatever it is. It's terrific.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
big
big
house.
place
We sold
that
it
side
out.
of town. That's a
Very
big
nice.
place. You sold it out.
20,000 seats.
We
really should.
The hell are you doing? I couldn't sleep. I'm checking the ropes. There was a frayed end on your rope, and I'm cutting it out.
Good weather, bad weather. No, later, anytime.
Today's show is brought to you by La Sportiva
Arc'teryx Equipment.
and with support from Maxim Ropes. Maxim has been keeping the Enormocast off the deck since 2012.
And don't forget our charter sponsor, Bonfire Coffee. Go to bonfirecoffee.com and enter Enorma at checkout for a discount on great coffee and to support the Enormocast.
And now back to the show.
Hello and welcome to the Enormocast. This is your host, Chris Kalous. It is around 12 p.m., February 10th, 2026, and this is a tweener episode of the Enormocast. One of those episodes I feel like needs to go between the regular eps. And on today's tweener, I'll be rebroadcasting a live interview done last November at the Banff Mountain and Book Film Festival with French alpinist, guide, ice climber, skier, all the things, Helias Millerioux. Helias grew up in Paris, but now is in that alpine crucible of Chamonix. And Helias is just a really cool cat. And I want to give out a couple thank yous. First of all, thank you to the Banff Mountain Film Festival for having me up for the second year in a row. It continues to be quite an honor. That's one of the preeminent festivals for the art of film and books, and I'm so glad that they have acknowledged podcasting. That's good for all of us climbing podcasters, that they acknowledge that it is a worthwhile form right there with films and books. The last 2 years, I've had a great time up there. Brought my wife. We've been full Banff tourists, and it's been just a really special meeting of a bunch of like-minded people. Really lovely up there in Banff. I'd also like to thank the Winona Ice Fest for having me out. I just got back a few days ago, arrived home with a severe cold, maybe the flu, maybe COVID. I don't know. Kicked my ass. I'm just barely getting over it. But, you know, that's what happens when you're out in the cold and you're up late at night, maybe imbibing in beverages and whatnot. So much fun, though. So worth it. I'll take the illness. Thanks again to the Winona Ice Fest. You guys check it out next year if you missed it and you live out there in the upper Midwest. But guess what? I got to get back on the horse. Leave tomorrow for Michigan. Michigan Ice Fest started today. Probably gone by the time you hear this, but maybe I saw you up there. So I'm looking forward to that one and hoping to rally. Got some cold meds on board right now. All right, let's get to this live interview done at the Banff Mountain Film Festival with Helias Millerioux. I totally feel lucky that through this opportunity, I got to know Helias, which is part of the fun of doing this program, obviously, is that I meet a lot of cool people. Climbing is filled with them, and Helias really nails it for me. He's very much got one foot in the old school in terms of his attitudes towards climbing. He's warm, friendly, but at the same time, he has, that eye of the tiger that can get stuff done. Maybe most well-known internationally for putting up a new route on the South Face of Nuptse with a French team. Quite a few expeditions to get that done. We talk about that grind on the show. Now he's sort of known for these big, broad expeditions of flying into some place, hiking in, skiing, climbing, kayaking out, being out in the wilderness for multiple weeks, 40 days, 40 plus days at times. Something that he's really started to enjoy versus the very focused route-oriented expeditions that he also does and used to do. So fun interview here. We get a bunch of very French accent-drenched English. Helias and I were a bit worried when we booked this that it would be tough to communicate, but it's fine. We can get along with Helias just fine during this interview. Maybe we're introducing you to somebody new, but fall in love like I did at the Banff Mountain Film Festival last November with Helias Millerioux.
Listen, where are you playing in town? You playing here?
We're doing the Enormocast, whatever it is. It's terrific.
Oh, yeah, big place that side of town. That's a big place. You sold it out. I'll say.
You really should.
Look, you better get up there before you panic. Those hens are loose. You're very good. I have really enjoyed climbing with you. I don't think so. But we shall continue with style.
And then we'll fade it out. There we go. Awesome. So yeah, my theme, which I've adopted this saying, we shall continue with style. If anybody hasn't figured it out yet, it's from an old Clint Eastwood movie called The Eiger Sanction, which I can only sort of recommend going and watching. Great climbing footage, a lot of outdated ideas about women and things like that. So, 1970s were a hell of a drug. So, great movie in some ways, a little bit of a hard watch in other ways. But the continuous style thing has become my theme, and I started thinking about that, and there's very few people that I've met in the last few years that embody this idea more than Helias Millerioux, who's here with me today. So give it up for Helias. I think Helias has become a bit of a festival darling. Because Helias has been here several years, has had several films in the show. I think whenever he takes the stage, the charisma comes through and everybody pays attention. But I feel like we only get little bits and pieces of who he is. And that's kind of my deal, right? Is the Enormocast is we want to find out a lot more about a guy like Helias. Helias is a guide in Chamonix, in that area. He's got all the letters that go with all the certifications that go with guiding in France. And I think that within the guiding community all around the world, I think the French or Swiss or all those guides that are operating in Chamonix at the highest level are kind of top dog guides. Like, this is where you go to be guiding things that are truly challenging and bringing people up challenges that really push them. And so I think that we can revere Helias as that part of his life, but he is also an amazing adventurer, an amazing alpine climber, and has a really interesting past that maybe came from a different direction than a lot of the guides and climbers that he hangs out with. So thanks for coming, Helias, and being willing to do this.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Banff, to welcome me. I'm happy to be here with you.
So obviously, as we've watched him on the stage and things like that, we have a little bit of a language thing to overcome. he speaks several languages. I speak one. So we're just gonna have to work with what we have up here, which is fine. Because the other thing about what I've observed and admired about him is he is a happy person. He is willing to joke about himself, be self-deprecating, and willing to just go with the flow and the vibe that's in the room. And so that's what we're going to do today, right?
Yes. I will try to do my best
on
my English.
One last thing about that too is doing research about Helias is difficult. Sometimes much of the media is in French. You can hit the translate button and then you look at it and you're like, I don't think that's what it said. So yeah, I've pieced together some things. We had some conversations, and we're going to kind of just start at the beginning, as I like to do, with little Helias in Paris. As a child, as a kid, I've learned that there was an important trip to the mountains with his parents who weren't mountain people, but they were trekking, and Helias saw some climbers, and that piqued his interest about wanting to be a climber. But Helias, before that happened, and that was, you were about 10, 11 years old when this discovery happened. What kind of kid were you in before that?
I grew up in Paris in a small family with like simple life. Mm-hmm. And my mother was a judo instructor.
That was a cool thing to find out.
And actually, my parents met when in the dojo, in the judo. And I spent all my youth on the dojo with my mother because she was taking care of me. I have one brother, one sister, and all of us, we were growing up in the judo. And Paris, there is no mountains, no walls. And in our culture, we were going in summer, in vacation in the mountains because the rentals were less expensive. And we were not skiing. And winter, we were going to the seaside. We were doing the opposite.
Right.
And all this summer in the mountain, we were like doing just trekking with the parents. And when you are a kid and walking hours and hours, you are always complaining because it's quite tiring. I get tiring, and it was tough. I didn't want to walk.
My parents never missed a chance to tell me what kind of wimp I was in the outdoors when I was little.
It was mandatory, you know? You can do whatever we want, but there's one time in the day where we have to walk. And at that time, year after year, we were when we were walking, we always stop at the bottom of the glacier. About the bottom in the Alps, because we are going to the mountains in the Alps, the glacier or the peak. When you are trekking people, you just cross the valley and pass and cross the pass. But the higher mountain is forbidden. Like, it's not for people from the city. It's for experts. It's for professional people. And and then my father, he took us to the mountain. He goes to the shop, he rent crampons, ice axe, and say, okay, let's go. But my father had no any experience skills about mountaineering. We were in the newspaper, each time there is an accident, they say, this is unconscious people, they get to the mountain, and another rescue, And I remember I arrived the first time, on the top of the mountain, and I was roped on the loop on my harness. I walk on a glacier hours and hours, but if I fall in a crevasse, useless. And at that moment, a dream come true. It's true. As I say to my father, I was with my brother also, and say, I want to be mountain guide. I have no idea what is it. Huh? Just it comes from I think today with the time I can check, and I think it came from a frustrating thing. You go to the bottom of the glacier, you go to you see the mountain and the peak, and you can't go up there. And it's like you want to discover what is up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think the mountains are so important to just most cultures that live among mountains, the mountains become these places that are going to reveal something to you. There's some wisdom up at the top of the mountain. You know, these mythologies that surround this are always, you got to get up there and you got to work hard to get up there to find out what that wisdom is. And I like one thing about Helias that I've just noticed and really connected to is he has this kind of more, I don't know if it's old school or this idea about the mountains that aren't based in, you know, I want to conquer them, I want to make myself famous, I want to do the things, you know, necessarily that are gonna get me recognition, but more of this, just he had these connections that were instantaneous and, you know, this dream. But it was interesting that it was a dream about guiding right away, which is something where you give to other people. Were you aware of that feeling of like, I want to help, I want to learn this because then I can show other people how to do this?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I had totally no idea what was guiding. It was just, I was super interesting about the gears, ice axe, crampons. I see these people, they look super well dressed with crampons and ice axe.
They look cool.
And they look cool.
Yeah.
That's something that was like, I want to go there. Why am I not able to go there? Why is it forbidden?
So, you know, when I'm looking at your history, a lot of they talk, the articles or whatever, there's that story, and then it sort of skips all the way to, you know, being on in school for guiding and becoming a guide some years later, you know, in your early 20s, you know, finally finishing all the arduous training that goes into being the kind of guide that Helias is. What about the lost years? Like, what were your first practical steps to then you go back to Paris, you're wow, that was cool. Like, what happens to get you to...
It happens like a quite long time, because in Paris, you know, it's a big city. It was no access to indoor climbing at that time. It was no tools to train. And it was some indoor climbing, but outside the city. And my mother doesn't want to leave me taking go outside Paris. It was far away, taking the train at night after the training. And it was some time. And then close to my place, it opened a climbing gym association, and I get into it. I was super lucky to be there at that time, because these associations, they were promoting the summer camp alpinism summer camp, winter skiing summer camp, and like for very cheap price every summer, they were bringing us. Bringing me, because I was a kid, I was the young teenager, to the mountain and all. But in the same moment, I was discovering Fontainebleau and discovering the bouldering and training and learning climbing.
Yeah, and Fontainebleau is a famous bouldering area, and it's fairly urban. It's a beautiful island of woods and boulders, but it's well within the city. And it's reachable from Paris by train or whatever you want to do. But talk about who you were climbing with and when you got into this outdoor climbing and this scene, which is, you know, one of the most famous historical scenes of all of climbing, the Fontainebleau, the people, the Bloussards, these people down there walking around the boulders.
Yeah, it's a very interesting place, Fontainebleau, because there is a culture. It's where is one part of the alpinism born in Fontainebleau from the Parisian people. It was a big community of city people in the past, in early years, and they were training in Fontainebleau to go to Chamonix, to climb in Chamonix. They were strong, training hard, because in Fontainebleau there's a lot of boulders on all the forest, and they were making a circuit with numbers of boulders. You do boulder number 1, boulder number 2, until number 6. And at the end, you spend a day to climb like 300 meters of roll. And that was the way to train. And but it's very interesting, because there is some people who spend all their life in the forest and never go outside.
Like they're training for something they're never going to do.
Quite nerd people about bouldering, very nerd.
Right.
And no, but you know, these people, they never go outside. They say, "Oh, let's go bouldering someplace." You know this place? No, they only Fontainebleau. But there are super skills about rock climbing in these boulders. But me, I wanted to go out.
Right.
Wanted to go out, and then Fontainebleau was far away from Paris. I met people to bring me there because I was a teenager at that time. And I was always climbing with people older than me. I didn't have so many friends at that time from my age. I was just focusing on bouldering with people who can bring me there. And I was a nerd.
Right. So the circuit thing in Fontainebleau, which is, even if I'm not that into bouldering, which is well known on the show, but I loved bouldering in Font because, it's beautiful. You're in France. That's a start. But the circuits and what Helias is talking about is that back in the early days of bouldering was just still training for bigger things, and so they would try to create these things where you barely ever stepped off a boulder. And so it was like you were climbing a route because you would do, a ton of movement as if you were climbing up a larger wall as training when you did go to the Alps and things like that. Talk a little bit about this climbing with older people. We talked a little bit about your past. There is this one interesting fact is that, about 14 that your father left.
Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about what you were getting out of the climbing, but also what you were getting out of spending time with these older climbers that you were with.
To get inside the story, if I can do it, I have the word in French, I say les pères et les pères. It's like in English, it's not the right translation, but it's fathers and pairs. Pairs is a team rope, and fathers is these people who bring me there. Mm-hmm. And at 14, there happened something in my life. My parents split, and I didn't see anymore my father for 9 years at that time. It was finished. And I was looking always for somebody like to represent like this paternal...
a father figure is what we would say.
Father figure, yeah. And I find it there in the bouldering with these people. They bring me to do my passion. They were like mentors, and they teach me how to climb, how to open a boulder, how to do alpinism, because they bring me also sometime in Chamonix for climbing, and I build my skills like that slowly. And it's like all my youth from 14 to the end of the university almost.
Yeah, and we'll skip ahead. There's an ending to this story with your dad, with your father. It was 9 years, and then you did reunite with him on some level. You met him, but there was a thing that happened that you told me. Helias, an early, very difficult climb that he did was to go do the infamous Slovak Direct in Alaska on Denali, and. You can tell the story.
Yeah.
This thing happens to you, and then it sort of cleared the way to see your father again.
Yeah. I will not make all the story, but years goes, and then I go to university. I'm in the national alpinism team and everything, and I grew up in my alpinism. I do my first expedition, and. After a few expeditions, we decided to go to Slovak Direct with we were 3 friends. And it was, for us, at that time, it was like diamonds. Like Slovak Direct was a massive objective, big face, big alpine style. There is all the story about Mark Twight and everybody and Steve House. And we were in these memories. But we have no experience about Alaska. What is it? We are quite arrogant a little bit also. Because I remember we were at the camp at 4,200 meters on Denali normal route, and we wanted to go to the Slovak Direct, and we go to the park ranger and discuss with them. We say, should we go to the Slovak Direct by the weak wire? They say, no, it's not a good idea. Say, oh no, it looks like a route in Mont Blanc. It's not a problem. We'll go there. And we spent an epic time to go there. We were like in a trap, going inside more and more crevasse, more and more seracs, and at one point we were like thinking that we will never reach the wall. Huh? And finally, we climbed a big part of the Slovak Direct, and we did in the route almost 7 days. But in the time, we get caught in a storm. And we were almost finished the difficulties in the. There is this part where there is some head climbing. I was with Remy climbing without gloves on the rock. We are climbing a 5.9, super cool, enjoying the route. And then the clouds come from the south, and we spent 3 days there. 3 days in the same place. With avalanche, we were coming up the slopes above us. And we stay on a ledge. Almost 3 days, going down to 60 meters below another ledge and try to find a place where we can stay. Because the storm is not the storm for 3 days. There is storms and there is better weather, but another storm, and we can't move really because we are scared of the avalanche. And after all this risky stuff, I come back from Alaska. I was happy. We did Denali. And I was thinking a lot. When you stay 3 days in the same place, you have time to think, and you are scared. You are super scared about what happens, huh? When you hear the noise of the snow coming up of you, you are like, "Wow, what the fuck?" and at that point, it was difficult because we didn't know what was the best, to come down or to go up after the storm. And finally, we came up, and I came back. I was like, "What the fuck with my life? I don't care about the past or whatever. I don't have to live in a way how we say in English, a regret.
Regret, yeah.
Of
resentment.
Yeah. And then I come back to France. I spend vacation surfing, and I come back to my grandmother, and I say, "Oh, ma'am, this grandmother was the mother of my father." And say, I don't care about what happens in the past. I'm okay. She took the phone and she called my father, and I was not here, but. And then few weeks later, we met with my father.
And you have a relationship with him still?
Yes.
Yeah.
We met once or twice a year. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
There is no. I know he will never change.
Okay.
It's okay with that.
Right.
I can't change him. He's like he is, but
yes.
I'm okay.
So it's like moving on. Like your life is you almost lost your life and said, let's not worry about what's in the past.
Yeah. I build my life. I'm a mountain guide. I'm super happy with my job. I'm super happy about what I live with my friends. I had some fathers, substitution fathers. They bring me a lot of things. I have a lot of climbing partner. Well, I had. We will see later about the climbing partner. And then, I'm happy with that. I don't care. I don't want to be in something heavy in myself. Mm.
Yeah, the climbing can get heavy enough. Without the extra baggage is what we say in English, carrying the bags.
Carrying the bag, yeah.
So you've moved on to becoming this guy, living in Chamonix. Again, this sort of pinnacle of alpinism, pinnacle of guiding in some ways is this place. Can you tell me about Chamonix, the good and the sort of bad that goes with being in this super intense culture of people doing, extreme things daily, morning, noon, and night?
In Chamonix there is granite. Granite is magnetic. All the people from all around the world, they go there. It's a magnet and he bring everybody to this place. And this is a beautiful mountain, amazing. You can live the super good experience and all, but also it brings all the bad side of the society, The globalization system of the mountaineering, I will say about that. And when I say globalization climbing is we have to do still more and more extreme, more variety,
more
skiing,
faster.
more paragliding, more climbing, more crack, more whatever. And if you don't climb, you stay down and you feel guilty. You feel not guilty. You feel uncomfortable because you are not doing. And you are harassing with all this stuff who come to you and can be difficult. For example, what I like in Canada, it's very peaceful about the seeing. You go on the side somewhere and you enjoy your stuff. More peaceful.
Yeah, I've always got that impression that, I have sort of a cartoonish impression. I've never been there. I've been to France, but I'm more of a warm rock climbing kind of guy. that like it's like a cartoon where there's like people flying and jumping and wingsuiting and skiing and like just like totally bonkers. But I don't think I'm that far off. Actually,
if you want to do a social study about the people there, you go at the first lift at Aiguille du Midi in the morning at 8.
Yeah,
and you will you just watch what is happening, and you will enjoy very much with the situation.
We talked about how you actually live outside of Chamonix, and that you found that kind of necessary to be able to remove yourself from that. Can you talk about that decision and why?
Alors, the decision it was a little bit. It's a decision, but Chamonix is difficult to find a place to stay. It's very expensive, whatever. And during COVID, I had time. I was not traveling for expedition and all. And I take time to find a place. I find this cabin in the fields in the upper Servoz, outside Chamonix, a small village outside Chamonix. And there, it was super cool because I'm 30 minutes from Chamonix drive. And I'm not anymore in the reactor. The nuclear reactor, like, You walk in Chamonix street. Every 5 minutes, you met a friend who call you, say, hey, come with me, we grab a beer. And then you grab a beer. And then another friend, hey, come with me, we grab a coffee. And then another beer, and then another coffee. And then you make plan for the next day. And then you finish drunk. And then the next plan is finished. Right. You can't wake up anymore. It's like, en français, on dit a rouleau compresseur. A compressor, like rolling machine will take you. And you have to take care. Because
like a conveyor belt, like just bringing you along.
Yeah. And you have to take care of yourself about that because you can be lost.
Yeah, and that's kind of when I was talking about this, like old school, like, you've got to remove yourself or you get caught up in it. And you're there to be in this beautiful place in these mountains and pursue your dreams, and then it's like almost like a Disneyland kind of feeling of like it's too much.
Sometimes it's a little bit weird.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about as your expeditions kind of progressed. The Slovak was obviously a big, meaningful moment for you. It seems like then at some point you're climbing with friends. You go to Peru, and you create what kind of is this. I don't know if it's like a game you guys are playing, whatever, but the Mustache Gang. So talk a little bit about that, gathering these friends that became really important to you for a few years and for some ascents.
Yeah, the Mustache Gang is a part of our life, just a window, I would say. A window? Yes. You can say. Yeah. And it's in that time we are climbing, because of the risk and the scare, we have to euphemize the situation, make it like more light.
Okay, yeah, to lighten it up, have some fun.
Yeah, because
keep it a little bit. Yes.
When we opened this route, it was so steep and it was west facing, and every day after 11, it was like big pillars of ice were falling around us, and we were putting the BV every day on a like wall cave. We find a very good place to sleep there.
And this is the mountain is Sur la Grande. What's the mountain?
Sur la Grande,
yeah,
just close. La Mort Suspendue, the book of Joe Simpson, just close. And we had a great expedition. Like, we did it in almost less than 3 weeks. We crushed super strong at that time. And the story of this team is like 2 teams who on each side go expedition and we met this summer in Chamonix. Like we were rent a flat for guiding. We are renting, and we are share mates. We share the flat, and born this idea of going for an expedition all together. And it was so great expedition. And then we name each of us Gang des Moustaches, because we have all of us have a small moustache for the climb. And after this climb, we spent like 15 days partying in Huaraz, reggaeton in Le Tombeau, dancing, and we were like the Gang des Moustaches was born.
Right. But yeah, you talked about a little bit about how even that, like the 3 weeks of partying became like
it was so
total
stupid.
grand.
No, but it was so stupid because we were 4. Sometimes when you are 2, it's one guy is tired, he can't convince the other one to go outside. But if you are 4, there's always one guy motivated to convince all the team to go outside.
Not go outside and go do some climbing, but to go outside and head down to the party.
And at the end, we can enjoy the Peru, go on the coast to visit and all. But we didn't visit Peru. We stayed in Huaraz. Well, we did a little climb El Spingue. It's a beautiful wall. But then we finish, we come back to the party.
Yeah, right, right. And it feels like this era or this time in your life was that kind of invincible, we're these guys that, look, we just got this climb done in, perfect style and record time, and what's next, and maybe not feeling the weight yet of what alpinism can bring you.
Yeah, it's very interesting because we were in the 20 years old, all of us. Yeah. And it was like we know the risk, but we don't have really. We didn't experience, all of us, the death actually at that time, and we were super light about everything. And it was what the next was Nuptse.
Right.
Nuptse because of a friend of us, Ben Guigonnet, my friend of my team, my brother, a brother. We had a friend, Stéphane Benoit, a mentor of him.
Mm-hmm. A mentor, yeah.
Yeah, he opened a route on the wall of Nuptse. Unfortunately, he didn't reach the summit, but he reached the ridge. The ridge of the... And they come down. And we have the memory when we were 18 about the talk about his
presentation,
ascent.
Seeing the pictures. And
we were like, wow, nice ascent, wow. And when 10 years later, we were there. We meet all together to go for Nuptse.
So that was a 4-year saga, 3 years? 3 years of trying it, or 4. I think there's one in between.
We did 3 years non-stop.
Yeah.
Every fall.
Every fall to go to try this climb. So bring us through that saga, because I mean this route I think stands out as a big. I mean, it's a very big moment for your career, but also it feels like a transition happened after that. So let's talk a little bit about these 3 attempts.
Yeah.
And just kind of a lot of times when I talk to expedition climbers, I'm not one. There does come to their lives, maybe they have this realization that they've been in this kind of grind of one after another. When I talked to Caro North last year here at the festival, she talked about just kind of waking up after 10 years of 2 expeditions practically of like, I am exhausted, I'm done. I have to step back. It felt like she was on the conveyor belt of doing these things. And it kind of feels like this period you were just boom, boom, and even doing 2 in a year, or coming home for a month and going back and things like that. So let's get to the meat of that.
It's interesting what you say, because at that time, I never failed an expedition.
Right.
Never. I did already 6 expeditions, and all time I crashed the summit.
Yeah, this is easy. Look at me, I'm super.
No, but you have confidence, huh?
Yeah.
But Nuptse was next step. And in 2015, we were only 2 to go to Nuptse. It was just Ben and I. Because the others say, we don't want to go. You should go to check first. We don't want to spend time to go there and all. And Ben and I say, okay, we go. We are motivated. We go. And unfortunately, 2015, it was a very dry fall, a very low monsoon. And the wall was totally collapsing of rocks, ice, and whatever. And we say, we accept that we're not going to go to the wall at that moment. And we met Ulish Tech and Colin, LA. They were also trying to do the Babanov Pilar. It was another featuring that everybody tried in the past. And we were all together in the same sheet. Not possible to attempt. We tried the Bonington route all together. For me, it was a weird moment, strange, because we were all together. We say, okay, we team rope all together, but we never use a rope, huh?
Right.
We come to the bottom of the wall. Uli Steck left alone. We watch him in. So,
Yeah.
okay.
So he's Uli Steck, if you're not hearing that. Goodbye, Uli.
Goodbye. Are you good, young guys? Are you good? Yes, it's okay. Okay. See you soon. Colin is a solo climber. Goes. And Ben and I were like that to say, we never climb like that. It's not our style. We were not comfortable about that. Because we were climbing between big corniche, big ice split, and we know that if we take a corniche on the face, everybody is done. Huh? We are not so comfortable. Bon, finally we reached 6,900 meters, big wind, big snow. Finish. Finish back home. But this expedition was very good because it opened the eyes out what was the objective. And when we came back, we said, okay, we can do it. There is the route is possible. And then 2016, we came back, 4 of us. And then we tried and we stopped 300 meters below the summit. It was a perfect ascent, perfect motivation. But we just, we mise, comment on dit, on a sous-estimé, underestimate,
yeah.
the higher part.
The top.
Where it was snow. On the snow in Himalayas, it's so difficult. The snow is so difficult. It's like big ice float everywhere, big corniche, big spines, and it's like the hill, the hell for the climbers, like horrible. And then we come down.
Yeah, I read that like you had made a decision that, we can leave everything here and dash to the summit and come back, no problem. We don't really bring anything, and just ran out of time, and that was it.
And we took it we are super arrogant because we say, okay, this year I climbed Nanga Parbat. In the summer, I climbed the Nanga Parbat, and my friend asked me at 7,000, say, you think we can do 700 meters a day to go to the top of the Nuptse? I said, okay, yes, in Nanga Parbat. I did 900 meters in a day. I'm okay with that. But we underestimate the difficulties up there. And we did only 300 meters in 8 hours. And after, it was 3 p.m. We say, if we continue to push, it will be 10 p.m. on the top. We have no water, nothing, no food. We will be frostbite, maybe not reaching the top. It was too much to commit, too much commitment. And there is an edge between taking the right decision and the decision where everything goes in a big tragedy.
Yeah. So what do you, real quick, I want to get to the final one when you guys do it, but when you have to turn around and you've made the decision, do you just, it's over, we're good, we have to go down, or does it hurt?
It hurts a lot. Alpinism is about ego also. And you won't never accept your own responsibility about the fail. The guy who puts the first words about the say we come down, I'm not into anymore to come, is Robin. Mm. And Robin for a few hours was more and more tired, and he was more slow. And everybody knows what we are doing. We are going into the fail. But nobody put the words about that. Who is the first to say stop? Mm-hmm. Because I protect my ego. It's better. It's more easy for me. I don't want to carry the responsibility of the fail. And then we came down, and then everybody was upset, but not upset like we are upset inside, And everybody doesn't accept the responsibility because. But at the end. A few years later, even the next year, I come back to Robin and say, thank you, mate. You took the right decision and you saved our life, I think. Because he was the first guy to say no. Sometimes it's good to push, but sometimes it's very... And I was happy about that, and we were like in a different mindset about the fail. And the big fail is we did mistake about your strategy of climb. We should put another camp, go with the food, go. Yeah, it was just that, the decision.
So was this, now you came back, obviously, and finally did this. Was it getting heavier and heavier? You know, you talked about the lightness of this team in Peru, but was it getting heavier each time you came back?
Alors,
this idea of climbing
it started to be heavy because, you know, we had an expedition. I remember it was the girlfriend of Ben, my friend Ben. She was there, and it was the girlfriend of Fred also. And Robin and I were alone. And they were traveling together in Nepal, and they follow us to the base camp and all. And when we came back, Ben told us, next year, it was like a planning. My girlfriend next year wants a kid. I have to go next year. And not, I say, I'm tired, I want to go postpone to
the following year. 2
years. Wait 1 year.
Yeah.
I want to wait 1 year to rest. And it was like the mandatory to come the next year, the next spring, the next fall.
Yeah, if you missed that, his girlfriend wants to have a kid.
And I was like, what the fuck? We should go again. Oh, it's so heavy. Do you know?
Not Ben's. Sorry.
Yeah. It was so heavy. The heavy come and I say, I don't want to go again in the Nuptse next year. I was like, but to say, okay, let's do the job.
Right.
We go again. And we go again, and it was not a pleasure at all because, you know, we stopped 300 below the summit, and when you know a route perfectly, and you know that you have less than 50% to reach the top, this kind of thing is the percentage of achieve your objectives is very, very low because you can break something, you can injured, you can be sick, the weather forecast can change, you are super high altitude. You bring so much variability and uncertainty. Is the word?
Mm-hmm.
Uncertainty,
yeah.
Yeah. You bring so much uncertainty that the person to reach is like so low. And like in the mindset, every step you do, you gain a little step on your climb who will help you to go to the last point you reach. And this feeling is super heavy and super stressful. Every night we set up the camp and say, yes, one more day. You know, in 2016 when we went to Nuptse, it was a pure pleasure. Climbing, discovering new pitches, enjoying. A lot of risk also, but it was discovering the thing. 2017, it was not. And in 2017, after the 7,000, it was pleasure. After, because we are happy to gain some elevation on the wall.
And they succeeded. You came down, you go home, and it sounds like that was the end of the gang, the mustache gang. That it was enough for some of these guys.
It was super weird because it took us a big part of our life, 3 years, and the feeling was super heavy. Like we never celebrate the ascent. When we came back, the wife of Ben was pregnant. He goes directly to his wife and take care of his family. Fred fall depressed, like nobody anymore. And me, I was injured. I have 3 vertebrae broken and 4 ribs because I took a stone at 7,000 on the wall. I get back to home to take care of my heels. And I was like, okay, everybody goes on side and nobody calls each other. It was like, we do our stuff on our side.
How did that change how you looked at expeditions after this? How did it change your mindset about what you needed from an expedition and what was interesting to you?
Me, I deeply love the mountain. I deeply love it. I deeply love spend time in the mountain and live. I say, I have a word, you know, in the south there is a waterman. I have a word, like super weird, the mountain man. A mountain man is somebody who like to be in the mountain, to ski, to climb, to walk, to just enjoy. It's a way of lifestyle in the mountain. And me, I didn't want to stop expedition after that. I just needed to renew myself, to reborn after something like that, because the experience was too difficult. It was a traumatic experience. And I needed I wanted to enjoy. and I needed to build new idea to take pleasure in what I do.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I can't believe I'm like looking at my clock. I'm like, there's so much. That manifested itself. That became this idea, or you started to think about other ways to go on expeditions, and you know, one of the things that you've presented here at Banff was this expedition to the Yukon of going not just there to climb a certain objective, but to walk in, to raft, to add all these other things. Was that kind of an answer to this need to not have these heavy one idea, we have to get this done kind of expedition?
It was me. What I love in alpinism is commitment. And on Nuptse, it was super commit, super extreme, super short time, 7 days. And I find in this big adventure in Yukon or last trip in Alaska, Wild Days, this long commitment time, like you go for 40 days, 50 days by yourself, just human power, and you cross all the mountain, the landscape. Of course, you climb a nice mountain, but you are not anymore in objective extreme. You are like in something more simple, but still in the big commitment. In Yukon, we start from the ocean side. It was a fisher boat who put us on the beach of Malaspina Lake. And we start our journey for 40 days, carrying the food, carrying all our stuff, and climbing Mount Logan by the East Ridge from the sea. And it was a new way to explore myself and to enjoy what I love. And I experienced a super big experience because we spent 8 days on the ridge, sleeping on snow cave with the snow, and we ski the ridge. And it was an amazing moment and a great memory. One of my favorite one, actually.
Yeah, and you talked to me about how, you know, these intense experiences and this commitment of being on a wall that's, you know, retreat is difficult, the summiting is difficult. There's the commitment of that, but this daily, like every day I have to get up and go forward for days on end, for 40 days, was also this really fascinating type of commitment that you reveled in and used to kind of open your mind to a lot of possibilities. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, what I love in it is like every day you have to obligate to move. If you stay here, nothing will happen. You have to reach the end of somewhere. If not, you will have not enough food. Huh? For example, at the start of the trip on Logan, we expect for 8 days from the beach to the bottom of the mountain. We took 16 days. we double the time. And we are like that. We say, oh la la, oh, we will manage the food because the food is going super quick. And it was like a contract between the team. We say, okay, what we should do if we have not any more food? And there was also another question.
Who are we going to eat?
Yeah.
Which guy looks the most delicious?
Well, but we are thinking to cut the food in two. Huh? It's right. Okay. We say, okay, we can cut the food in two. It's still the start of the expedition. Huh? We still have margin. And it was that point, but it was more the time and the flying ticket from Anchorage going back. And we say, do we will cut the expedition to come back in time to take the fly back to Europe? And it was an agreement between everybody. Everybody say no. If we miss the fly, we will finish and end the expedition, and we will miss it. We no worries about that. The most important thing was the journey, the experience we will live all along the trip.
I'm kind of like implying that maybe, you know, after Nuptse, the expedition climbing was over. It certainly was not. You've done plenty of expeditions since then, of varying degrees of success or, getting your objective or not, or finding new objectives while you're over there. It feels like you changed your philosophy a little bit, again, of not quite so hung up on the one thing that we saw in this slideshow when we were 18, and this is what we have to be done. Can you talk a little bit about that, like putting that flexibility into what you go and do? And there's problems. I mean, you have a permit for one thing. You not always can pivot and things like that, but you found this kind of new way of looking at these mountains.
It's very interesting. What I look is, I'm not focused on, a lot of climbers They are focused on opening new route, new summit, and whatever. In my life, already, I didn't open so much route, honestly. What is the most important for me is the dimension of the project. The beauty of the mountain, the beauty of the line, the beauty of the experience of the team and all that stuff. And we have been to Pakistan in 2021, and we wanted to climb Shishpar South Wall. I was with old mentors, Yannick Graziani and Patrick Vagnon, alpine crusher in Himalayas. And I was with them. And we go to the bottom of Shishpar and say, oh, we never go to the summit. It's like too dangerous, like too much avalanche. It was like, no, it's not for us. And okay, let's go to the main acclimatization objective was Diran North Ridge. And then at that moment, Diran North Ridge is a 7,000. Oh, sorry, I didn't talk about the eye of the six peaks. Shishpar is 7,008, Diran is 7,002. And we were on the bottom of the ridge, and this ridge took us 6 weeks. 6 weeks, sorry, for the expedition. But it was too much bad weather and all. And we climbed this long ridge with uncomfortable snow, with big corniche, big ice flute, and we are discovering a new activity, digging in the snow. I was with all of us, we climb super extreme, steep ice, whatever. But you don't climb anymore with your ice axe. You climb with your shovel, all the expedition, to make a track inside the corniche and the ice flute. It's like super uncomfortable. And I have a lot of admiration for the old generation who opened this kind of route where we are not experienced to that. And then after the Diran, we are super happy, came the question, we have 15 days, what should we do? The weather forecast was good. And then it was this mountain in front of us, Rakaposhi, 7,800 meters again, 780 meters. I say, the weather is so good. We have to go there. And then in 2 days, we are at the base camp, and we climbed the British route with 8 kilometers ridge, up and down. It's a super commitment. It was like so amazing experience because I discovered myself, I was not in the ice axe technical or something, I was just walking in the snow, and some steep slope, But I spent a so good moment on this mountain. We were alone on this ridge, like super long and just the commitment and us, the mountain and us. And it was like an amazing moment to stand on the top of Rakaposhi, like no wind, cool, was like, it's what I'm looking for, and I love it.
Yeah, it's just interesting. You shifted your focus from what you're kind of supposed to be doing, which is pushing this edge of technical difficulty in the mountains. That's what we hear about. That's what so many stories we even get in Banff are about. They did the next hardest thing. And again, this old school, this continuous style kind of vibe that I opened with, like that's it. Of this is not a route that will get me fame and fortune. It's what I want to do today and go back in time a little bit to admire what has been done before.
For example, here my personal achievement was to do 2 big 7,000 in 10 days. I was super happy. I did. So 2 big, beautiful mountain somewhere in the Pakistan. In 10 days, I was come back and say, oh, wow, never do that. I'm happy for myself.
So I want to ask one last question because we're out of time, but we'll go over just a team bit. Don't give me that look. No, we talk about these far-flung expeditions, coming home and leaving right away sometimes, or doing a season of guiding to get some money and going. But you told me that you're building a house, that you were living in this cabin. Like, what does home mean to you? What does it mean to come home from these things? Because we have that thing Michael said last night. The first objective is to come home and alive, or just come home.
Today,
it's the same thing. So what does it mean home for you off these expeditions?
After so
France and Chamonix and all that.
For me, it was very important because for many years I had no home. I was with share mate, with friends, and was changing always. And I needed this place, this nest. When I come back, where everything, all my stuff is. I'm not looking for my ice sacks to my friend's house, or my crampons over there, or my cams there. I come here, everything is here. I can sit and just do nothing. Nothing. Just sometimes I can spend 10 days just at my place. I'm with my 2 cats, enjoying, doing my garden, and just doing nothing. And I'm so happy, it's peaceful, and it's like, bring me like some peace after that, and it's very important to have this place where you know, I lost few friends in the mountain and not in the mountain, and I can say, pushing, I love to push, but pushing and to die in the mountain is very useless, because it brings nothing. And the butterfly effect around that is so huge, around the family, the people, and everything, and even in yourself, that it's keeping alive, and still continue to climb is the best. Just find this balance and renew yourself, myself, on my activities is like a way to create myself and build. I don't know.
Are you worried about getting old?
Huh?
Are you worried about getting old?
No. No, I'm already old. I'm on back pain, neck pain. I'm 38. You know, if you ask me, I see me in the future still climbing. At 60, I want to climb and still go expedition. I will see what happens. I don't know. But I will be more than happy to go to Karakoram and Karimabad and enjoy with my friend and just trekking or eating Pakistani food. Like, cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Helias. I've been really looking forward to this as I've talked to you over the last few days, as I've gotten a glimpse of you on the stage last night, and just getting these little pictures of who you are. I've been dying to dig deep, and I hope you guys enjoyed this and hearing from Helias. Please give it up for him. We'll be here for a bit. I'm sure Helias will be happy to talk as they turn over the stage for the next event. And once again, I appreciate you guys being here, and I'm going to do this.
Thank you.